Hi, everybody. It's Mary Kay here from Boulder Health and Nutrition, and I am excited to be presenting my first live stream event to talk about blood sugar balancing and its relationship to mood issues. It's something I'm really passionate about because I've experienced it in my own life. And the benefit of this new live stream option is pretty exciting because it allows me to be in touch with people from all over the world at any time and to answer questions directly. So it's the live interacting piece. I don't have the technology piece of it down yet, so the lighting is not quite right. And I'll be working with that and getting better. So if you're here and watching, go ahead and just write comments, post hi, post any questions you have about this topic. The other cool thing is that you can, this will be recorded so that even if you can't make it live, you can pass it on and share it with a loved one or look at it later for yourself if you have questions about blood sugar issues. So today's topic is, if there's nobody here to interact, that's fine. It's just a presentation that I'm giving you then. And so basically, if you have been told by a doctor that your blood sugar levels are high, that you have pre-diabetes, or even have been diagnosed by a healthcare provider with diabetes, then I've got some nutritional information, lifestyle tips, and advice that can be really helpful. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I've been a psychotherapist for over 20 years, specializing often with depression and anxiety, and various mood issues along with trauma. And then in the last, I would say the last 5 years, I've been intensely researching and studying nutrition, and I'm now a holistic nutrition therapist as well because there's such a huge crossover that I learned from my personal life. So I'm now trying to spread the word to as many people as possible because it was a big life changer for me to discover what I was doing in my diet that was actually contributing to and exacerbating depression and anxiety that I have struggled with my whole life on and off since I was a little girl, actually. And there's a lot of confounding factors. All depression, symptoms of depression, symptoms of anxiety, and other mood issues come from different types of etiology. There's different causes and triggers for these for different people. But for a lot of us, there is a huge correlation with what we're eating, particularly our blood sugar levels. So that's what I'm here wanting to talk about. So whether blood sugar is your issue or depression or anxiety or mood questions and concerns, low energy, brain fog, poor memory, irritability, that kind of stuff can certainly be related to blood sugar regulation. So my first disclaimer right here is that I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a healthcare provider in that traditional medical sense. I do not diagnose medical conditions. I don't prescribe treatments or offer cures for medical diagnoses. I am, however, a trained holistic nutritionist and a licensed psychotherapist. And in the capacity as a licensed psychotherapist, I absolutely have diagnosed and treated people with depression and anxiety. So now I'm combining these two worlds because, as I said, it was a powerful difference for me. The rates of obesity and diabetes and even fatty liver disease that are so connected to our diet and high blood glucose, high intake of sugar is really running rampant in our world. And children under the age of 10 years old are being diagnosed with fatty liver disease. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, that's where we used to see it in adults, is people consuming too much alcohol. And now it's because of too much consumption of high fructose corn syrup and other sugary foods that are creating so many health problems for people. We all know somebody with cancer diagnosis, and I'm a cancer survivor. And I used to struggle with depression to the point where I had to take antidepressants and medication. And over the past 5 years, more than 5 years now, I have not taken any antidepressants because I've not had any kind of relapse into the serious depressions that I would get every 2 years. I would go on medication, which would help for a little while. I'd feel better. I'd go off of medication. And then usually in another 2 years, the depression would come again. And I've had some pretty serious levels of depression in my time, and also a lifetime of seasonal affective depression. None of that has occurred in my life since I have changed my diet. So, inflammation is a big word that we've been hearing, and that is absolutely what underlies a lot of depression. Gastrointestinal distress, gut microbiome, you've probably been hearing about those buzzwords. From the time I was a little girl, I had gastrointestinal irritable bowel syndrome, and we know now that 90% of our serotonin, that chemical that we associate with depression and mood issues, is produced in our gut microbiome. The bacteria that live in our gut are producing our serotonin. So if we have gut disturbance and things happening in our intestinal system that our bodies are not used to or that are not designed to help with, that's when we can start to have mood issues as well. And what is a huge contributor to gut dysbiosis, gut imbalance, irritable bowel syndromes, it's the consumption of sugars, because those little pathogenic bacteria inside of our intestinal lining, they love to eat sugar, and that gets the whole system out of balance, creates inflammation in the body, and a bunch of the distressing symptoms that we think of as depression. So is anybody on here yet? Go ahead and say hi or comment if anybody's out there. And it's okay, again, if nobody is out there. So basically, if somebody has an underlying trauma or psychological issue, then just changing your nutrition is not going to treat or help that issue. It can certainly help. Nutrition can support and help the body's own natural healing mechanisms for just about any diagnosis or issue out there. But nutrition actually can help and support even trauma recovery. However, a lot of us are struggling with depression and anxiety and mood symptoms from, again, just the lifestyle factors of not getting enough sleep at night, of eating high carbohydrate, high sugar diets. So I think the estimates are up to like 1 out of 3 people are going to end up with a diagnosis of diabetes. 1 out of 2 people now, I believe, are overweight. So and many more of us are getting all kinds of cancers. Alzheimer's disease is now related to high blood sugar levels. So basically, there's a lot that we can do with diet. I discovered this for myself back in 2011 when I went to the 9 News Health Fair. It's a perfect time of year to do that right now. The 9 News Health Fair is happening this spring, and it's a great way to get free blood work done. I had a bunch of testing done, and I was already suspicious that something was going on in my world because I was starting to have a blurry vision in my right eye. I was starting to notice increased neuropathy in my toes and fingers. And pretty educated, science-based person. I have a family member with diabetes. I have a deceased aunt who was a doctor. So I'm very interested in studying and researching this. So I knew, besides knowing that I was also a self-proclaimed sugar addict, I suspected that my blood sugar level was high and not normal. And so when I got the 9 News Health results, I actually avoided opening the envelope. And then when I eventually did look at the results, because I was scared, like any human, and we tend to avoid things when we're scared. So I actually eventually opened the results, and I had 4 blood markers that were abnormal. They were high, including A1C. I had high blood sugar levels, and I had high C-reactive protein, which is a sign of inflammation. And my primary care physician, who was a doctor of osteopathy at the time, hi, Stacy, she told me that basically a conventional doctor would have diagnosed me with prediabetes and would have wanted me on medications at that time. Luckily, a friend of mine, a friend of Stacy's as well, introduced me to, he was a CrossFit person and had actually told me about his friend doing CrossFit with amazing results. And he introduced me to a book by Gary Taubes called Why We Get Fat. So I read that book, and it changed my world. The research in there and the politics and everything about our current dietary system just blew my mind. And I literally emptied out my kitchen cupboards and changed the way I was eating. And within 2 weeks' time, my energy level, my mood, my brain fog disappeared. No more depression. My skin cleared. And then within that year, I without even trying or changing any exercise, I lost 25 pounds. just by changing these pieces of my diet and getting rid of the extra carbs and the sugar and just eating naturally the way our bodies are meant to eat. So for somebody who has struggled on and off with depression for so long and anxiety, to not have to pay the hundreds, I was literally at one point paying $1,000 a month for medications. So yeah, there's misinformation out there about what is good to be eating, and people that are probably taking antidepressant medication that don't need to be taking antidepressant medication. And part of my mission is to be helping people to live healthier, happier, more amazing lives with just eating good natural foods. So, Stacy, hi. Do you have any questions about this whole issue of moods and foods? You're probably an expert yourself and could offer us some information. So part of the problem is the foods that are marketed as healthy. I thought I was eating healthy for the most part, except for my sugar addiction and binges on sugar. But the low-fat craze, the recommendations for low-fat eating is one of the biggest myths and misinformation out there. Thank you, Stacy. So look at this this supposedly healthy Dannon yogurt, which so it's got low-fat milk in it. Low fat is not good. Our bodies need fat. That's one of the biggest pieces of misinformation out there. Every cell in our body is made of fat. We need to have fat. And so many people that have been reducing their fat intake have ended up having even more health problems because they're starving themselves from this essential nutrient. So if you're going to eat store-bought fat or store-bought yogurt or kefir and you can't make your own, absolutely buy whole fat organic. The other interesting thing about so when you take fat out of food, it tastes horrible. It's not natural. It tastes horrible. And so the food companies have to add sugar in. So there is 20 grams of sugar in this supposedly healthy, non-fat, low-fat yogurt. 20 grams of sugar. So what's recommended by the World Health Organization for a woman is 6 teaspoons of sugar. That's about 25 grams total. So you've got 5 teaspoons of sugar. Can you imagine just eating 5 teaspoons of sugar? Just 5 teaspoons of sugar? Can you imagine? Yuck. There's no nutritional value in it either. So basically, really, you need to pay attention to ingredients. You want less than probably 6 grams of sugar, less than 5 grams of sugar in one serving of this kind of food and whole fat milk. So I'm going to try something. This is a whole brand new process to me. I don't know if it's going to work for me to move this video off of myself. One of the questions I had last night from some friends was what to cook with. What is somebody who bakes? What kinds of sugars are healthy, actually? Sorry, I'm having a hot flash here, so you can see me out sweating. I'm going to try to switch this. Is it still working? Excellent. So if you're wanting to still have sweets in your life, there's plenty of natural varieties that aren't completely without nutrition. Sugar, cane sugar, and high fructose corn syrup offers us no nutritional value. But if you're going to have some sweet, have something natural like raw, unfiltered honey. You can get some down at the farmer's market that's locally grown. This is also locally and sustainable. Molasses is what our ancestors used to cook with and bake with back when we ate much less sugar and we had much lower rates of heart disease, lower rates of diabetes and obesity. Coconut manna is one of my favorite sweet treats. And coconut, just whip up some coconut cream and add some coconut flakes to that. If you're going to sweeten your baking food, stevia is probably one of the best things. Stay away from all of those other low-calorie sweeteners are really, really toxic to the body. Coconut aminos are even sweet. I add that with olive oil to salad. Here's the book, Gary Taubes' Why We Get Fat. And I love this brand new book by a board-certified psychiatrist called A Mind of Your Own, Kelly Brogan. She's got a site here on Facebook, and Gary Taubes has a site on Facebook. If you're wanting to get healthier, eat healthier, get off of medications to manage your moods and anxiety, then absolutely just start eating better. I've got some more tips as well. and we're kind of running out of time. This is kind of an experiment for me, so I didn't know how long this whole project was going to take. But I do have a report, and I offer a free report on my website, boulderhealthandnutrition.com. It's a free report on 10 steps to balance your blood sugar. And if you want to lose weight, if you want to increase your energy, depression, improve depression and mood, if you're having difficulty sleeping, often that's related to blood sugar. But basically, so I offer 10 basic tips. So I'm just going to give you a few now. And if you want the report, feel free to go to my website. Drinking water, drink a lot of water. The very first thing I do in the morning is I have a glass of water, 12-ounce glass of water on the bedside table, and I drink that first thing. Make sure you're not skipping breakfast. Eat breakfast. And make sure that there's protein and good fat with that. Good fats like avocado, olive oil. Bacon is absolutely okay. Eggs are absolutely okay. Eggs are one of the most nutritious, healthy foods you can get in the morning. But the best way to start your blood sugar off great is to eat a protein and fat diet. So eat lots of vegetables throughout the day. Another big thing you can do with your diet is, if you're still eating the standard American diet, completely eliminating sugar and fruit juice. You might think that 100% fruit juice is healthy. Too high of a glycemic load. It overwhelms the body and disrupts our insulin production. So I didn't get much into the whole biochemistry of the process that happens in our bodies when we consume sugar and how it throws our whole system out of balance. But we are out of time, and getting good sleep, practicing meditation, getting exercise daily, those are all things. And I post on this website a lot about those kinds of tips. So feel free to stay tuned. Feel free to post comments even after this is over, and feel free to forward this and spread it on Facebook to people that you are concerned about, or loved ones that have high blood sugar or diabetes or mood issues. Okay, thanks, and feel free to leave comments below, and I hope to see you on one of these again soon. If there's particular topics you'd like to hear about, let me know. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.